recording is on.
Okay, here is the code window. So when you configuring all the numbers, finish configuring all the numbers on that last screen and submit, you'll be presented here with the code. This is the outbound line to the caller ID number, and you'll enter that code on the handset when you receive the call. Next one is the code for the phone you want to hold in your hand. So after you do the caller ID verification, you'll get a second phone call to the handset that you're going to be actually using, and you'll be asked to verify this code as well so we can know that it's you on the end of the line. Once you've successfully entered both codes, you're then brought into the dialer. There's some information on screen here for you. We have a couple reports that shows you how many leads you have in the hopper, what's available to be dialed out of those. It should be all of them for the most part. Dials, how many dials you've already made, contacts you've made. The contacts could be, a contact is considered when you had a conversation. Somebody picked up, that's a contact. Even an answering machine, again, because we can't really tell the difference on that. And then appointments that you've set. So these are live stats as you're going through your session on the dialer. This eyeball up here lets you know that your browser is correctly connected to the dialer. This should always be an eyeball and online. If it's not, just click the live support help in the bottom right of the dialer page. I'll show you guys that in a few moments. And then just send a ticket to me. Just send a notification with the live support. I'll get that notification, try to get to you guys as quick as I can. But this, again, should always be eyeball online. This next box, it's not pre-filled on this screenshot, but it should have a picture of a little iPhone. It's got an iPhone of a smiley face and sunglasses. So as long as it's smiley face sunglasses, you're all good that your phone is connected. If it's a frowny face, something's bad. That's, it doesn't see your phone connected. You possibly accidentally hung up on the call, or your cell reception dropped the call, one of the two, but the system doesn't see your phone connected at that point. If you ever get dislodged from a call or just not connected properly at any point, you can just right-click on some empty space on the page and then just choose reload or refresh the page. That'll reload the page. The page will realize that your phone isn't connected, and you'll be presented with the call configuration window again if you ever need to get reconnected for anything. So say you're in the middle of a session and something happens and you get dropped, you can just right-click, refresh the page, and the call configuration window will pop back up for you. We'll probably get a button added for you guys at some point. We just haven't unfortunately gotten there yet. Next button's over here. This is the dial. We've got pause, finalize and exit, and then test a voicemail. Test voicemail is helpful for when we get your automated recorded voicemail. We'll send out an email and we'll have you leave a voicemail on my answering machine at the office, and it's going to be a greeting that we will be leaving on your behalf on your client's voicemail. So we've got a script and some examples for you. You can take a look at those and then pre-record your own greeting with us. Once we get that configured, it's best to use the test voicemail that first time just to make sure it works. What we'll do is we'll end up playing your voicemail back on the line that you're holding once you're connected to the dialer. Down here, these are just tabs. Most of the time, these tabs are going to always pre-open for you. You shouldn't have to touch or mess with these tabs at all. You can see some of them here. There's controls and stats up here, dialer call list. This will show the entire list of leads that we have loaded into the dialer, and then the lead and disposition window. But there shouldn't be much need for you guys to click on any of those. All these tabs move and close automatically based off what's occurring in the session. We'll move on to the next slide. Okay. Once someone picks up, this is the, we're going to call this the disposition window. So this is the tab that pops up as soon as a client picks up. Now again, we can't tell if it's a person on the line or an answering machine, and since we're advising not to use answering machine detection, you'll find out soon enough if they're there or not. As soon as that client connects, we pre-fill all of these boxes: client name, spouse name, primary, phone, date of birth, age, street address. Most importantly, we've got marketing type and account name down here. So you can quickly see if this is a national account and maybe change your greeting accordingly based off that. All these boxes, as long as the lead in the CRM has the data, we're pre-filling this with that data. If you don't have the data, obviously I have nothing to put in there for you. We bring you immediately to the disposition window. We do this because it's a good chance you'll run across some answering machines and no answers, and we just want you to be able to quickly disposition this as answering machine and move on to the next lead. As stated earlier, there's a couple different ways you can choose to handle an answering machine. I'm not going to go into all of them on this call. In our training, we can go over them, but the 3 different ways you could choose to handle an answering machine is just number 1, not leave a voicemail at all. You may decide to do that. In that case, just hang up the client, disposition as answering machine, and move on to the next lead. If you want to leave a voicemail, obviously you could do a manual one, so that's just you speaking a greeting. Speak that greeting, disposition, and move on. And then the next method would be the automated way. You can do send a voicemail here, and we'll play that pre-recording greeting and automatically disposition it. There's some more details with those that we'll save for the training, actually. Again, this is the disposition window. Quick choices in here. We do have some other tabs up here. Client info. This is where you'll have all their contact info. Next one is client address, so their address. Underwriting, this is all the health information. And lead management, this is where your comments that are existing. So if you have comments that are already on the lead record, you can access them by going to the lead management tab when you have it open. And then a notes field, this notes tab, this is a huge note paper for you to take notes while you're on the call. We'll move to the next slide. I think we have some screenshots of all those. So back here on the upper left, we have client info. It's a small snapshot of that. Next tab is client address. In the client address tab, you've got a button for Google Map. You can open up the property on Google Map if you'd like. We'll show you the actual property here. We've got a Zestimate button. You can click Zestimate and it'll give you Zillow's estimate for the property value. And then there's one other button to the right of that. It's Zillow, and you can choose that to actually open the property in Zillow to get further details. Next tab is underwriting. Again, this is all the health information. If we have any of this information in the CRM, we're pre-populating this with what you have. If you don't have anything or you're adding to it, fill out these boxes as you're on the call. All this information will move back over. Again, if it pulled info in, just drop down to the next line and continue adding. It'll append all the data back to the lead record when you disposition the call. Left-hand side is the actual client, right-hand side is spouse. So they're identical on either side. One is client, one is spouse. Lead management tab, this next one, this gives you some details on the actual lead, some back-end details. These are all grayed out. Again, you don't have much control over these. These are just details, whether what marketing type was used, if we know what the creative, if there was an account type, worksite, national account, and that account name if there is one. And here's the comments box that we pull in from the CRM. Again, this will be pre-filled with your comments that are already on the CRM. And then the Notes tab, finally. This is a large note paper that you can continue to take notes on. Okay, some dispositions. We've got set appointment. When scheduling a client appointment, the lead will automatically be assigned. So this disposition stuff, here, let's do the dispositions a different way. I apologize. Let's go back here. So a couple different dispositions. Why don't we go into the dialer? I apologize. Why don't we go into the dialer and take a look from the actual dialer. It'll be easier to show you guys around that way. So let's find some leads to push. I've got some test leads here. We'll do this. We'll point it to the Axia dialer, selected records, and then we're going to export. We'll get a little message here. It tells that we've loaded one lead into the dialer. From there, we can go ahead and click dialer up at the top. So start to take us into the dialer here. We're again going to do leads loaded from the CRM. We'll do next. And from here, it's just a confirmation box one more time letting us know how many leads we've pushed. We'll go ahead and do proceed. Okay. Now we're fully into the dialer and the call configuration window has come up. So I'll go ahead and point this at my cell phone, and I'm going to choose System selected caller ID. This is so one thing about system selected, it's a good idea probably not to be using this if you're dialing your own leads. If you're in the pilot program, system selected is forced upon you because those leads are company leads at that point. We'll have to get you some more details. I don't want to go into it too much on this call, but there's some reasons for dialing bucket leads that you're forced onto system selected caller ID, and that is just showing the Kirkland office caller ID phone number. Those return calls will be answered by Marcy and Alex at the Kirkland office. So with those leads, real quick, if you do set an appointment on those, we do immediately assign those leads to you, but it's only with set appointment. For some more clarification and details on that pilot program, please talk to Irena. I don't want to go into them too much, but for this today, just caller ID purposes and my phone, I'm going to leave it system selected. Hold music, I'll leave it at no music. AMD off, no huddle, line 1 is fine, and we don't need to remember options. So we'll go ahead and do call me. The dialer is going to go ahead and call my cell phone now. Everyone's frantically writing down my cell phone number. Okay. Cell phone is connected. All right, so now we're into the dialer fully here. It shows us how many leads are in. Again, shows we're online. Gives us the iPhone sunglass mustache here. That's good news. We're connected. And when we're ready, we can go ahead and click dial. I'm not, for today's example, I'm not going to dial it because this is, again, pointed at my cell phone. We'll go ahead and just pop open the lead window so that we can go over some of these leads in depth. Call back later. I'm going to skip around on some of these leads. It just makes a little sense to do that. Some of them are self-explanatory. So call back later. Let's start with this one. Client answers and legitimately tells you, I'm busy right now. Todd, let's talk next week. Give me a call next week. So, okay, that's a call back later. We'll go ahead and do next. The dialer now asks, okay, when did this client request to be called back? We want to know. So let's say that this is 1 month out. If this date, we have some of these pre-shortcuts here. You can pick something from the shortcut list. If you're not happy with those, click on the actual date itself and pick something more specific. We're going to do a couple things on a callback later like this. This date is serving for, what we're doing is we're going to end up creating a calendar event in your Outlook calendar at this date at 8 a.m. in the morning. At 8 a.m. in the morning, you'll have a calendar event that will remind you that you have a callback with this client. Inside that calendar event, we'll leave you a hyperlink to the client record in the CRM. You can just open the calendar event, click on the hyperlink to the CRM record, and you have all the details from that call right there for you. And those will always pop up at 8 a.m. regardless of your time zone. So if you're East Coast 8 a.m., West Coast 8 a.m., we're adjusting for time zone on that. And it's just a generic event that will say LTC dialer callback at with this client. So look out for those. The other thing that this serves is a suppression device. So if you accidentally load this lead into the dialer with inside this time frame, the dialer will suppress that lead and will no longer dial it within this window. Once you fall outside this window, the dialer will let you continue to dial it. But it's just a safeguard for yourself so that you don't actually dial this in the future. We'll go ahead and go back. So NQ age, that's easy, self-explanatory. NQ health and NQ financial. You'll notice when I chose both of these, we're now asking, is this a condition permanent or is this condition temporary? So you could have a NQ health situation where a client has a surgery coming up or is post-surgery that may be eligible in some period after that medical piece. So we'll say that this condition is temporary, and again, financial can be the same way. We'll say that it's temporary, and we'll do next. Guess what? We're going to treat it like a callback. Let me know how temporary that is. It's temporary for 3 months. We should follow up in 3 months. Okay, we're going to get you that calendar event at 8 a.m., so you're reminded at 1/6 to call that guy back, again with the hyperlink to the client record in the CRM. Both of these are handled the same, NQ Financial as well. If you do temporary, you're going to get presented and treated as a callback. Permanent, obviously that's a dead stop. We're just going to the end on a permanent. Okay. Already insured is a stop dial status. A do not contact. If the client says, I'm sorry, just don't contact me anymore, you've got a do not contact here. Be really careful with this because this is a black hole for that lead as well. So, those leads are pretty much stop dial, stop anything at that point. So be really reserved with a do not contact. Not interested and invalid number, you have a couple other choices here. So answering machine we touched on, you can handle those 3 different ways. I will go into those more specifics on our one-on-ones with getting agents set up. Set appointment is a fun one. So if we're setting an appointment, we're going to go ahead and do next. We have a custom interface for setting appointment. Immediately, as soon as you choose set appointment and submit, just open the calendar. It's so much easier. Just open the calendar. The calendar opens up with your calendar adjusted for the client time zone. So in my case for this example, the client is in the same time zone as me, so the calendar didn't adjust at all. But if you have somebody based out of Florida, agent in Florida and a client, say, on the West Coast, it's going to open your agent calendar adjusted for the client time zone. The reason we do that is we want you to be able to quickly say to the client, I've got a time slot at 1 p.m. your time on Saturday. Does that work for you? We don't even want you to think about the time conversion. We want it to be natural for you to just get the time out nice and smooth. The client says, yep, 1 p.m. Saturday works great for me. Double click to create the event. You'll notice it creates the event in a 30-minute increment. If you need it longer, get your cursor where you've got the 2 arrows, and just like you'd expand any other window, expand the calendar event to 2 hours here. And now you've blocked off 2 hours on your calendar. It's Saturday at 1 p.m. And this may be a different time zone, and we will properly adjust that for your time zone. Once you've got the event booked in here, go ahead and do save to save the record. All this information automatically pre-fills for you. Let us know whether this is going to be a face-to-face or a phone or internet appointment. Select one of the radio buttons here for face-to-face or phone or internet. If the client record already has an email address appended to it, we're going to pre-fill this send to email address with the client's email address. You can also expand this and choose other email addresses for the client. You could even type in a custom email address here if you wanted as well. The other option is to do not send email. The email that goes outbound off this is the generic CRM appointment set template that goes pre-filled with the client's name at the top, your join me information as long as you have that set up inside the CRM, and the date and time of the appointment, and a calendar event the client can add to their own calendar. And this is all sent to the client in their own time zone, adjusted correctly for them if it is a different time zone from the agent. The notification that goes to the agent, of course, is adjusted correctly for the agent time zone, so you'll see the calendar event show up properly on your calendar. Once you're done, again, you decide whether to send that email or not. Chances are most people are going to be sending that email, or you have a do not send here if you'd like. We'll do next. This is a contact confirmation kind of check. So after you schedule that appointment with the client, is this a good phone number for you? Is this a good email? Great. And next from there, and then you're presented with the completion step. Now keep in mind that you are still connected to the client this entire time up until we submit this actual completion. So we would need to either choose keep dialing or pause and then all done to hang up on the client. So be aware of that, please. If you need, there's always a hang up client button up here, so you can hang up on the client prior if you need, if you need some more time scheduling and moving, navigating through this appointment process or any other process here. You may have a scenario where a client says, great, John, go ahead and schedule the appointment for next Saturday. I've got to run and go get my kids. And the client just sets down their phone and doesn't hang up. And now you've got, the client's dog barking in the background. You may just want to hang up the client at that point and then move on. So again, keep dialing and pause. What this is telling us here is that when you tell me that you're all done, do you want to keep dialing or pause? Now, you've got to be careful with this, and you want to make sure if you're going to take a break, please do pause. The reason is if we tell the dialer keep dialing and choose all done, we're going to be moved back into the call queue up here in a ready state, and the dialer is instantly going to start making that next outbound call. If you then decide that you need to take a break, get a glass of water, or get up and pause yourself, I can't stop that call. I've already made it, and that client, if they answer, there's not going to be an agent ready because you've now paused yourself. So please be aware of your pause timing. Try to make sure to, at the end of a lead dispositioning, to choose pause from here. And just in emergency cases, use pause from the top, because you can't stop the dialer once it makes that outbound call. One other thing here, if when you push, I'll go ahead and collapse the lead window here. Once you push a number of leads, this list will show your entire leads here, and there may be multiple pages. The dialer skips around based off an algorithm we have it looking at. There's a couple different things the dialer takes into account when it picks and chooses your phone numbers. And so you're more than welcome to select and push the leads that you want, but you're a little bit at the mercy of the algorithm as far as which ones it's going to dial first. The reason we do this is most importantly, we look at something called a call count. So if you load, let's say you make a session and you load 50 leads and you sit down and you only dial through 25. So 25 of those leads have been called once and the other 25 have not. You pause, leave your session, quit for the day, come back the next day and pick those same 50 leads and load them back up. We're going to dial and start with the leads that have been called the least amount. So the leads that have the lowest call count, we're going to load and dial first. So that's one of the things the algorithm looks at when it jumps around the list. So you'll notice it jumping around the list. It actually highlights the phone number in the lead record green when it's calling it, and in this status box will say that it's ringing. But you'll see that jumping around, and it'll actually jump from page to page. It's completely normal. Some agents, some agents are frustrated by it, but in our opinion, it's doing the right thing. Again, if you have any questions, suggestions, we're happy to hear them. That pretty much concludes kind of where I'm at as far as the show and tell. If anyone would like to ask any questions, we can kind of open it up for questions and answers and look at some things. You can more than just hit *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Just want to remind, there's the pilot program Irena wanted the first 10 emails from, and if you guys would like, please just start sending me emails and we'll get training calls scheduled for you. Other than that, we're all set. Thank you.
John?
Oh, I apologize.
John?
Yeah, I'm here.
I had a question. I have two line 2 numbers. Is that going to be a problem?
I'm sorry. There's a bad echo. I can't hear. If I mute everyone here, can you guys star 6?
Why don't you try that?
Is now muted.